What is up guys, Cameron Bash here, and today it is time to share with you guys everything that we learned at the 2K press event regarding WWE 2K18. I'd first off like to give a huge shout out and thank you to both WWE Games as well as the community manager Brian Bohr for allowing us to have this opportunity to come out to the event to not only experience the game but to have an incredible party as well. It was an amazing night, one I will never forget, and we cannot thank these guys enough for giving us this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something this incredible. So thank you very much to them. If you guys are interested in seeing some of the footage from this event, we're going to be having some vlogs coming towards the beginning of next week, so stay tuned for that. And now, onto the game. First off, the graphics. Now, year after year, we usually get some pretty amazing screenshots and footage of the game that don't always hold up once you actually play the game. Not to say that the games have ever looked bad, but they've never been accurate to what we were shown in the first images, and that was a big concern of mine going in to play WWE 2K18 for the first time. But I can safely say that that is not the case this time around. The graphics for this year's game hold up big time, and in many different cases, it's almost as if you're watching an actual WWE product. That's how good this game looks this year. By far the best looking WWE game we've ever had. It's truly beautiful, so big props to them for that. Next up, I'm going to tell you about the ultimate control moves. Now, I'm not sure if this is the official name for this feature, as it's just mostly referenced in the game as carrying your opponent. But for those of you who played some of the older SmackDown vs. Raw titles, you'll know what this feature is about. It basically allows you to pick up your opponent and carry them around the ring in many different ways, including fireman's carry, powerbomb, and a few more. Once you have your opponent up in any of these positions, you hold in R1 to go into the carry mode, which will stop whatever move you were going to do and instead allow you to start carrying them around the ring. From here, you can do a few things. You can perform a normal move, your opponent can break out of it by tapping circle, but probably the coolest thing you can do is interact with many parts of the ring and ringside area. At one point I was playing as Samoa Joe and had Corbin lifted up on my shoulders in the fireman's carry position. I walked over to the new ring post they have in the game and I just chucked that dude right into it. It looked brutal, deadly, and I just know that this feature is going to lead to a lot of creative goodness from the community. It's a great addition. From there, we should talk about the new feeder system that is in the game. So this has already been announced, but to actually see it in action was pretty awesome to see. So do you remember in WWE 2K17 where you could crawl around the ring, go over to the ropes and use the ropes to pull yourself up? Well, this feature is a little bit like that, but it just does so much more for the flow of matches. Now instead of just climbing to your feet, you might go into the corner, which will allow your opponent to do another move to you there. Or you might crawl under the bottom rope and stand up on the apron instead. Just lots of little things like that which will allow you to do so much more and do so many more different things with your time in the match. We did a really cool spot at one point where Joe hit Corbin with a snake eyes in the corner and knocked him down. Corbin then began to immediately pull himself up into the corner and rest there, which then allowed Samoa Joe to come in and hit his corner signature Enziguri. It was a very cool spot, and stuff like that is where this new feature is really going to thrive. We also had the opportunity to try out the new Royal Rumble they have, and yes, with this we managed to get 8 people into the ring at the same time, and man, it works great. This was another one of those things I was a bit scared about going into, as I wasn't sure if fitting 8 people into a ring would work out so well, but it does. And it's awesome to finally see that make it into a WWE game. As far as the Royal Rumble itself goes, it's very similar to what you're used to. A button mashing quick time event to eliminate your opponents. The big major difference being they've added a lot of new animations, so it's not the same stuff we've been used to for the past few years. And that's animations both in terms of the sort of, I guess, the generic eliminations where you just go up to the ropes and press X to eliminate your opponent, as well as new finishers to eliminate them as well. And I think that's pretty much it as far as all the new stuff goes. Very positive experience, lots of fantastic new additions to the game, but there is one thing that I do need to mention, and that is some frame rate issues, especially when it comes to the new Elimination Chamber. For whatever reason, that match type just has some major frame rate issues, causing it to drop to around 10 to 15 frames per second. However, we did get to speak to a few of the developers there, and we, along with many of the other YouTubers, mentioned this to them, and they assured us that this is something that they are aware of and that they are working on for the final build of the game. And of course they are. Every year around this time, we always hear about some little bug or some little glitch from the SummerSlam build, and almost definitely is fixed by the time the game drops. So there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to get this sorted by the time the game comes out in a few months' time. So yeah guys, that's going to do it for this video and our initial thoughts on WWE 2K18. Overall, the experience was great and the gameplay was just so fun. It keeps that realism that 2K has been added to the franchise over the last few years they've been in charge of WWE games, while also adding so many more fun elements to make it a just very good and enjoyable gameplay experience. If you guys have any further questions regarding the game, be sure to drop us a tweet on Twitter or leave a comment down below and we'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks once again to 2K for inviting us out to this event, and thank you all for watching this video. We'll see you next time. Peace.
6 of WWE's most violent.
Who's gonna enter next? Nobody evokes more.